He said, if I were asked under what sky the human mind has most fully developed some of its choicest gifts, has most deeply pondered on the greatest problems of life, and has found solutions, I would point to India, says Max Muller. And Albert Einstein, he said, we owe a lot to Indians who taught us how to count, without which no worthwhile scientific discovery could have ever been made. These are the opinions of, or I would say statements made by great thinkers about India. So I thought now we will start with some of the greatest thinkers India ever produced. And no other thinker than the great sage Vyasa, who compiled the Vedas, who wrote the Mahabharata, who gave out the gem called the Bhagavad Gita. I would like to highlight one aspect of the Gita which conveys the most prominent message on happiness. In chapter 18, Lord Krishna states, he defines true happiness and false happiness. He says, true happiness is like poison in the beginning, but nectar in the end. And false happiness is nectar in the beginning and poison in the end. This true happiness, anything which is like, he doesn't say poison, it's like poison, very unpleasant. To wake up in the morning and to spend some time for mental fitness, to exercise, to eat the right kind of food, to speak well, to be courteous, to be helpful. It is unpleasant in the beginning, but you keep doing it, it is nectar in the end. That he says, even in relationships, in a relationship we always say, it is two unselfish individuals who can blossom in a relationship. From being selfish to become unselfish, to develop an attitude of sharing, caring, giving, is unpleasant in the beginning, but you keep working on yourself. It's a beautiful relationship. That's true happiness. False happiness, to party 5 nights a week, to wake up late, to eat junk food, to speak whatever you want. It's very pleasant in the beginning, but it's poison in the end. That's why now, if all that which was poison in the beginning is also poison in the end, and all that which is nectar in the beginning is also nectar in the end, life would have been very easy. But the way life is designed is, anything which is like poison becomes nectar in the end. Anything which is like nectar in the beginning becomes poison in the end. So I would suggest this is one of the greatest thoughts, very practical thoughts given out 7,000 years ago. Another beautiful thought I want to ponder over the great thinkers of India, a great Tamil poet by name Bharatiyar. He highlights the plight of humanity. He says, Nallador veenai seiden, adai nalam keda puludiyil erivadundo. He says, he almost talks about the Creator. He says, I made a beautiful veena, and what have you done to yourself? You're playing discordant notes. He equates a human being to a veena. It can produce fabulous music, soothing music, but because of your own ways of thinking, your own low value systems, you have destroyed yourself. So, Nallador veenai seiden, adai nalam keda puludiyil erivadundo. Soladi Sivasakti, says the great poet Bharatiya. Another great poet and a saint, Adi Shankara, made a fabulous statement. I mean, in fact, he gave us an instruction to life. Anyone who has read the Vajagovindam, or I come from Chennai, and we have heard this text, Vajagovindam, on a daily basis. But when you understand the text and then follow it, it's a beautiful instructions to life. In one of those slokas, he says, Satsangatve nisangatvam, nisangatve nirmohatvam, nirmohatve nischalatatvam, nischalatatve jivan mukti. The literal translation of that is, from the company of good arises non-attachment. Satsangatve nisangatvam. From the company of good, when they say company of good, whatever way you contact the world, it should be a source of evolution. There's a saying, tell me your friends, I'll tell you who you are. Not to be judgmental. Whatever way you connect with the world, that should be a source of evolution. The kind of books you read, the kind of the paper you read, or the friends you have, the clothes you wear, the music you listen to, the food you consume. every aspect. Satsang doesn't literally mean bhajans or lectures or any. Sang means association. Sat means truth. Any association of good. That's why it says first statement. From the company of good arises non-attachment. From non-attachment arises freedom from delusion. It says from non-attachment arises freedom from delusion. According to these masters, we are deluded by the world. We seem to have a black market value for all that the world offers to you. So therefore, that's why I say all these masters highlighted name, fame, power, position, status, opposite sex. They are all great slaves but terrible masters, they say. So freedom from delusion. And he says from non-delusion arises absolute steadfastness. Once you have the right value for the world, there is absolute steadfastness in whatever goal you want to pursue. You want to be the most admiring citizen of the country, or you want to achieve greatness in the world. From freedom from delusion arises absolute steadfastness, meaning nobody can stop you. Nobody can stop you from your pursuit of your goal. And he says, from absolute steadfastness arises liberation in life. So it's a very scientific process. That's why whoever aligns to these principles are in the path of evolution. I mean, Adi Shankara lived in the 8th century. And Vyasa, he contributed 7,000 years ago. All these things still apply for any individual who is aligned to individual evolution. And I would like to conclude with what the great Rabindranath Tagore highlighted and what each one of us should experience. And it is a poem which many of you would have heard of, but I would like to remind you of that. He says, where the mind is without fear and the head is held high. I mean, the way he starts itself is beautiful. Where the mind is without fear and the head is held high. Where knowledge is free. Where the world has not been broken up into fragments by narrow domestic walls. Where words come out from the depth of truth. This should be recorded. Where words come out from the depth of truth. Where tireless striving stretches its arms towards perfection. Where the clear stream of reason has not lost its way into the dreary desert sand of dead habit. Where the mind is led forward by thee into the ever-widening thought and action, into that heaven of freedom, my Father, let my country awake, said the great Rabindranath Tagore. And he also gave out the most beautiful national anthem. Now that I'm saying is, let us be a proud Indian. I mean, the coinage, incredible India, it's so apt. I mean, the contribution the great masters made to not just to Indians, to all humanity, and it is for generations to come. Now that I'm saying is, let us be proud of what our heritage, the thinkers' contribution to all humanity, and if we are able to align ourselves, these are all value systems. What I'm speaking is value system, is not an adherence to a particular master here. That's why you don't need to pursue that. If you understand true happiness, false happiness, what kind of happiness are you pursuing? Is it, if it's nectar in the beginning, it could be poison in there. If it is like, they don't say poison, it's like poison, but it is nectar in the end. And all these aspects, if you're able to pursue it and work on it, and all that I'm saying is, in simple terms, our life can be beautiful if only you're aware of. Let's develop that sense of gratitude to our country, and let's be wonderful citizens. Most of us, we talk about gratitude. It is not just gratitude, and gratitude has two parts to it. Even the parents say the children are not that grateful, or the management says the employees are not grateful to organization. Gratitude involves two aspects. One is, you've got to be aware of all that you've been provided, and number two, you got to understand that you can never repay the benevolence of those sources. One is awareness, that alone is not enough. Number two, our inability to repay that benevolence. So if you both are aware, if you have these two factors, you will become more grateful and you'll be more proud of the contributions made. And aligning to it will do a great deal of good to our life. In the words the way my master says, at the end of the day, when you hit the pillow, you should sleep in 10 seconds. You should fall off to sleep in 10 seconds like a child. So I wish you all that in this 2020, to fall off to sleep in 10 seconds like a child. All the best to you and thank you.